Right, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Kind of a vlog. I'm going to try and make this as interactive as possible. If you are new here, I own just now, it's kind of only just come into the country, an imported Datsun 720 King Cab with a Sylvia swapped engine. So it's got an SR20 DET. And what we're doing here on the channel is basically registering it and getting it drivable again. So if you didn't see me picking it up, here it is, I'll leave it linked above. And then I did a detailing video. And then I thought what I would do before we actually get into actually fixing everything is telling you what's wrong with it. So this is everything wrong with my Sylvia swap Datsun, I guess. I have seen on the internet actually there's a fair few of these floating around on YouTube, which was really surprising to me because they weren't in the UK. You just can't get them. So this might not be as interesting to you guys as I thought it would be, but for those in the UK, hopefully you find this fascinating. Because to me, this is like a part of car culture I never knew existed, and I absolutely love it now. Mini trucks, Nissan mini trucks. It's amazing. It's really big in Thailand. So again, brief bit of history. This truck is imported from Thailand. I am going through the registration process. I think I've got a few videos on that coming up, or at least one video on that coming up, because I've sent everything off now, and I kind of detail exactly what needs to be done and things like that. But this is basically everything wrong with it. So I'm going to try and, overlay some footage and stuff like that. Some of it I can't overlay footage of because it's either fixed now or, I can't get images of it or I can't get footage of it. It's raining at the moment. But the first thing is actually window trim. So the first stuff is a lot of window trim stuff. It's more not what's like major wrong with it. This is all like perishable items, like window rubbers. They age out so not quickly, but they do age out. And, this is a 1981 truck, nearly 40 years old. Some of the perishables on this are just terrible. So I need to fix all of the windshield or windscreen rubber trim, basically. I need to sort all of that out. It's pretty big on the agenda because it looks horrendous. And, if it's perishing, then I would imagine the metal underneath is going to be wearing out as well if it's not been coated, clear coated or painted. It's one of those things I want to really stop rust ever touching this car. It's pretty rust free. There is some surface corrosion and stuff like that, but for the most part it's pretty okay. And it will need some restoration work in future, but we're talking like 5-10 years down the line. It is not required right now, and it's things I can just slowly work on. But windshield rubbers are pretty massive. Now the next one's actually a really big one. I need to change all of the spark plugs, and I need to do the valve gasket and the valve gasket seals. So everything that goes over, or the valve cover, gasket seals, everything that's around, the spark plugs, all of the valve cover. I need to do all of that. That's number one on the agenda. It's pretty high up because cylinder 4, the frontal cylinder, the spark plug does have oil in it, which if my estimations are correct and like doing all the research and things like that, it's a pretty common thing to go on an SR20. It's actually just the seals, like the sort of O-ring seals around the spark plug within the valve cover. So I've got a valve cover gasket seal kit that I'm going to be doing here on the channel. So I'm going to go through all of that. I've got that in now already. So I need to do all of that. Again, pretty big on the agenda, to be honest. There is also a leak on the power steering rack somewhere. I think I found out where it is. I think it's just a crush washer that needs to be replaced. If you don't know what they are, they're pretty common on turbos. Anyway, there's a lot of crush washers around turbos. They're just little copper washers that get crushed into place so they seat down perfectly. And I think one of them's gone, so I've got some crush washers for that. I'm going to replace that and see. But it's not major. Like, you can have a power steering leak, if it's just drip, you can have that for quite a while before it causes any issue. You just need to make sure it is topped up. So although that's high on my agenda, I don't want any leaking cars. It's not a major concern at this point in time. It's not something that steered me away, pun intended, from the truck. It's not that important. I do have a massive issue with the rear window on the truck. The rear window needs to be fixed. It's loose, it's all lax, but it all comes down to the rubbers actually. I think some of that's gone, and I think I need to bend some things back, so I do have that's something which does need to be fixed. Outside of that, a lot of it is just tuning, so I need to tune the truck. I need to check what transmission it has. I'm fairly certain, well, I have checked what transmission it has. It has a Sylvia transmission, but I need to check like everything is good on it, because obviously I don't know how beaten this truck has been. It's from Thailand, for God's sake. You know, it could be, you know, smashed into the dirt for all I know. Who knows? But I need to check the transmission. I need to tune it. I need to either swap the ECU out or add a chip to the ECU. That will be done over at Horsham Developments in the UK. They are Nissan specialists, and they have developed a chip for the ECU for Sylvias, but I don't know whether it even has that ECU. There is some play in the steering rack, or the steering column, whatever. There's some play at the steering wheel. I would want that fixed eventually. It's not super high on the agenda, but I would want it fixed eventually. I need to swap out, you know, the seats. A lot of things like inside, I need to change the seats, because although they're standard and they're amazing and they're very rare and I will keep them, they're terrifying, and you don't want to be driving a turbo mini truck without bucket seats, because it's terrifying. I have driven the truck and it's terrifying. So I need to swap out the seats. I've actually looked into it, and I think 300ZX seats fit, as far as I'm aware, as far as I can see, and they would look amazing. I think they'd be really, really cool. I need to do all of the sort of trim items. So again, weather stripping around the doors, I need to change all of that. Again, perishable rubbery items need to be swapped out and need to be changed, just like they would on any new car eventually. So I need to do that. Headlights. I need to change the headlights. I need to modernize the headlights. I need to bring them into the 20th century, 21st century, whatever, with LEDs. And I've got a plan for that, so that's coming up. I also need to reseat the bonnet. It's slightly over to one side, so I need to reseat that. I also need to repaint all of the normal trim. I need to change out the tail lights. I've got a video on that coming up. And I need to do the side markers at the front. Outside of that, I need to get the gauges to work and probably either swap them out and get rid of them completely, although they are retro old school Gredy gauges, which are pretty rare now, I would imagine, but I will probably want to get a digital dash, and I think that's it. Probably sort out the aircon, because there's a weird aircon unit in the truck bed. Don't know quite what that is, but apparently that is the aircon, and I think that's it. I do need to change the tyres, because they're gone, close to anyway, and they're stretched, so I should probably sort that out. But outside of that, I think that is it. Basic services, and then enjoy the truck and just do tiny little repairs over a period of time. So that is everything wrong with my Datsun 720 mini truck. I've tried to make this as interactive as possible with clips and things like that, but probably failed, because that is how these go sometimes, unless I'm walking around the truck, which is actually in front of me. But again, it's pissing down with rain. I'm not going to do that. I actually stood out in the rain for a little bit to get the weather trim videos, and I wasn't going to stand out there any longer. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more, and yeah, there's lots of repairs coming up on this truck. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stay tuned. Thank you all so much. This is Car Nonsense. Cheers. Bye bye.